Have you ever wondered how daily budget actually works inside Google Ads? Because one day you might spend nothing, but then you might spend way beyond your daily budget the next. Well, in today's video, we'll show you exactly how daily budget works inside Google Ads so you know exactly how much you're spending every month. And the simplest way of defining your daily budget, which you'll be able to see up the top of your campaign as well, is simply the average amount you're willing to spend per day on your campaign. And if you have multiple campaigns as well, the budget is set at the campaign level. So you don't set your daily budget at the account level, but if you have a separate campaign, then you'd set a separate daily budget for that campaign. And when it comes to setting your daily budget, it's really simple that at the end of the initial setup process, you'll just enter your daily budget that you want to use. But also, if you ever want to change your daily budget at any time, you can simply just come up to budget up here and change this from, 30 euro per day to whatever amount per day that you'd like to go with. Now, it's commonly mentioned inside Google Ads that let's just say, for example, you had €0 spent on any given day, so you didn't get any clicks, so you didn't spend any budget. It's commonly mentioned that Google can spend up to twice your daily budget in an individual day if you don't spend any budget the previous, for example, if the budget is there to be spent. So let's just say Google can charge up to €60 in an individual day. But we've actually seen with a lot of different campaigns that if our campaigns were underspending a lot early on, is that campaigns in a lot of cases have actually spent over double the daily budget. So we don't even like looking at daily budget in terms of, what am I actually spending per day? But the most accurate way of determining, how much am I actually spending on Google Ads is taking the daily budget that you set and multiplying that number by 30.4, which is the most accurate way of determining how much you're actually spending in any given month. So if you have a €30 a day budget, like we do here, for example, if you don't spend anything on any given day, don't assume that you're not going to spend your full budget across the month because Google wants to spend your budget, but you can assume that across the full month that the maximum Google can charge you is about €900 or a little bit above that, since that's about 30 times your daily budget. So what we prefer doing in a lot of cases is if you know exactly what you're willing to pay on Google Ads per month, then you're better off dividing your monthly budget by 30.4 and then entering in that as your daily budget, because then you know exactly how much you're spending month to month. Because if you look at your campaigns on the daily level like this, you might spend a certain amount one day. This campaign, for example, is spending fairly consistently each day, but there can definitely be outliers like this, for example, where the campaign spent about €50 because a few days before this there was very little spent. But in general, it's just worth mentioning that if you spend very little on any individual day, that you can spend a lot more than that on the next day if you have the budget there to spend on the monthly level, because you never really know how many clicks you're going to get on any individual day. So it's a lot easier to look at your budget on the monthly level rather than the daily level, because if you got 10 clicks one day but only 5 clicks the next day, then that's drastically going to affect how much is spent on that individual day. And it's worth mentioning as well that this rule applies regardless of ad schedule. So let's just say you're running your ads 5 days of the week and not all seven. You can still spend up to 30.4 times your daily budget, regardless of how many days of the week your ads are running. What Google will try and do is just spend your full monthly budget across less time. So if you're running ads during your business hours, for example, when you know that any leads you get are more likely to be of high buying intent, then essentially what you're doing is telling Google that you want to spend your full monthly budget, but try and focus it on these hours of the day where are most likely to be profitable. So let's just say, for example, for argument's sake, that this budget was €20 per day. You could assume that on average you'd spend about €140 per week for the 7 days of the week. But that amount per week then would actually be divided by 5 rather than 7, since you're only running your ads on the weekdays. So you'll still spend the same amount of budget overall, regardless of whether you're running 24/7 or only running your ads 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And if you're wondering, what I should actually set my daily budget to be, we're just going to give you a really brief idea on how to do this for your own campaign. And what I'll do as well is leave the link to a separate video, which was actually the first video on the channel that went into a lot more detail on how much you should actually spend inside Google Ads to see results. So you can take a look at that. That goes into what I'm going to show you now in a lot more detail on how to figure out exactly what you should be spending in your own specific scenario. But what you want to do is go to the keyword planner and enter in some relevant keywords for what you offer. So let's just say landscaping in this case, and enter in the location that you want to target. You'll see some examples of the keywords that you'll actually like to target for the campaign. And what you want to do is come over here to the top of bid high range, which is the max amount that anyone's paying per click for that keyword in that area. And you can see here, for example, that on average, the top of bid high range is somewhere close to about €3. And you could be safe to say that, let's just say you were starting out a new campaign running with maximize clicks and you decided to set a maximum cost per click bid limit of €3. And you want to get 10 clicks per day, which is what I recommend for lead generation campaigns, because assuming that you can get about one conversion for every 10 clicks, that way you're able to get to a point where you have about 30 conversions in the first month. But I go into a lot more detail in that on the video that I just mentioned. But with your daily budget overall, you just want to be able to get about 10 clicks per day. So assuming that, the maximum you'll be willing to pay per click is about €3, then you could set your daily budget in this case, for example, for about €30, because with that daily budget, you're giving yourself enough budget to get about 10 clicks per day, if not more. And I'll leave the link to that video down below as well if you're in the process of determining, what my bid should be and how I should set my daily budget. Now, I hope this video helped and gave you some clarity on how daily budget actually works inside Google Ads, and how you're better off just looking at it from the monthly level rather than the daily level. Because if you're looking at the campaign every day, it might drive you mad seeing crazy fluctuations in the amount you're spending each day. But at least if you look at it on the monthly level, you know exactly what is the maximum amount I could be charged on any given month. Now, if you do have any questions about anything we mentioned in this video or anything else related to Google Ads in general, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you are a service-based business looking for further help refining your own campaigns as well, feel free to have a look at the link in the description. And if you do like this Google Ads related content as well, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as we'll be posting all things related to Google Ads here daily. And hopefully we'll see you in the next video.